It's 4:30. Like way. Oh, we're on live. I won't say anything.
It's 3 my time.
I have to do something at 4:30. Sorry, half an hour.
Yeah, you and I.
Today in the International Arena League, join an exclusive conversation with our league commissioner Dan Lust and director of fan engagement Corine Lewis. They will be joined by former NFL linebacker Adrian Ross. With the April 2026 kickoff, things are beginning to load and the cards are starting to fall. What teams could be announced next? Stay tuned to the IAL, where fans win too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Live with the IAL. I'm Corine Lewis, Director of Fan Experience, and with me today is our Commissioner, Dan Lust. Dan is a leading sports and entertainment attorney out of New York City. He is the host of Conduct Detrimental, the sports law podcast. He is also an instructor in law school in New York and a host of so many other things. So hi, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm good. We are actually experiencing our first snow day in New York. So I see him outside.
Yes, I've been going through that the last 3 days here in Chicago. Getting used to this weather compared to the West Coast. This is new.
This is objectively worse than the West Coast, but it's all good. Pleasure to be with you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I can tell you about a lot of the fun stuff going on in my world last couple of days, but pleasure to be back on with you. And I think, as long as you have me, I think this is going to be somewhat regular. I was told, yes. I was given authority by the only man above me in the totem pole, Tom Mitchell, to come on this as early and often. Tuesdays, 4 p.m. my time.
Love it. So excited. And I know that the fans are too, so we've had quite a few.
We have a sound. I was not aware of it.
Things.
Okay, I'm ready.
I've been doing some lives every Tuesday, Thursday. We've had good feedback, people connecting, which is great. So with that being said, Dan, as well, we have had good questions coming in. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be asking you some of those questions from our viewers. Right now, what I'm going to do is make a couple of announcements, and then we will get into it and introduce our returning special guest, Adrian Ross. So first and foremost, I want to announce again our Fans Win 2 program. This program is amazing. So for anyone and everyone that buys season tickets, if you are a season ticket holder for your team, let's use the Cincinnati Slingers. If you have season tickets and Cincinnati wins the championship this year, you as a season ticket holder will get to renew your season tickets free of charge for 2027. And everyone knows this is my favorite promotion. It's the favorite thing that we're doing right now. And so Fans Win 2 is the perfect reason for you to go out right now, get your season tickets. You can go to ialfootball.com. You can go to the Cincinnati Slingers website, the Las Vegas Rockers website. You can also go to IAL Glasgow. And as each day and each week unfolds, we're bringing in more and more teams. So go get your tickets, pick your seats, get your tickets so that you can be part of this Fans Win 2 program. The second announcement I want to make after speaking with our COO, Tom Mitchell, he is changing a rule, and it's a good one. It's a big one. He is going to allow the defensive line to stunt to create some havoc. What do you think about that, Dan?
As the person tasked with writing the rule book, that is not memorialized in the rule book yet. So, Tom, stunting, listen, it's Tom's discretion. I don't think that's. I mean, I think it's exciting, but it needs to be memorialized in the rule book. So, it's okay. This is why I have to go on these lives so I can hear the rule announcements as they happen.
What? And I'll tell you what. This is so fun for me because I get to kind of be the middleman sometimes between the both of you. It's really super fun. I mean, I love it. So as we're speaking, we have 2 questions directly from Tom for you. Here we go. So the first question is, Tom wanted to know, have your hands gotten any better? According to Tom, y'all went to an arena game And it seems as though, Dan, you were a target at that game, and he just wants to know, how are your hands?
So Tom is apparently in the business of spreading misinformation and lies, because my hands are great. And I told Tom that if there's a ball kicked and it bounces, this was actually an errant throw, bounces anywhere near my territory, I will get it. And what happened was it bounced and it hit the people in the row in front of us, and they like volleyed it up into the air, like 10 feet in the air above me. Tom thought that I had fumbled it and sent the ball careening 10 feet into the air, which was not true. There was no ball touched me, because the crazy person in front of me basically did a little volleyball set into the heavens, and I didn't get to touch it. So Tom is spreading misinformation. The truth is an absolute defense. My hands are doing great. I'm doing great. And I see we have the guest in the show as well. Mr. Ross is here. So he can save me from this defamatory slander that's being put on my hands. My hands are great. Okay. These are fantastic.
Look, in all defense, I said, I'm sure Dan had a reason. I'm sure he did. The other question Tom has for you, Dan, is where are we on getting signatures on the game balls?
What are all these questions about footballs? Like, if Tom sends me footballs, I have no issue signing them. These hands work. Tom said right? We would promote the league, and now I'm just being attacked. That's what
I said. That's what I said. Okay, let's dial it back. Let's go directly from the fans. Okay, so here's a question: How do you envision positioning the IAL as the first truly global indoor football league?
It's a good question. I mean, again, you and I, this is part two. We had our first live last week, and some technical difficulties, but we figured it out. Collective effort in the league. I mean, the truth is, we're not going to be the only league, be it in football or other sports, that are going to take advantage of this international market. The NFL has invested significant funds going overseas, and playing these 9:30 games, at least where I am on the East Coast. So there is certainly an appetite for international football, and there has yet to be a league to pull these various strings together. The NFL certainly invested in NFL Europe 20 years ago. There's been, obviously, CFL has had a long track record of success, but there's yet to be a league that I think has triangulated those signals going overseas. Number one, capturing the Canadian market and the American market. So it's certainly a lofty task, but that's what we're here for. So it's in the name, and I think the branding that we've done around the International Arena League certainly speaks for itself.
I think you're absolutely right. Okay, the second question is, how will the IAL balance expansion and stability to ensure long-term success?
It's a great question. Who are giving these questions? Is this Tom or is this some?
You can talk to Levi. We've been getting a lot of messages between Hollywood, Levi, me, everybody. There's some good questions in here. Okay,
so the question, I mean, the answer is this, and I'm certain we're going to get a number of these questions over our series of Zooms here. There have been things that have plagued arena leagues in the past in terms of overexpansion. And you could look no further than a league like the NFL or even, NHL. It's very rare that they expand unless it makes sense, unless the league is balanced, unless they can it's practical from a league of competitive balance. So we want to make sure our league, in year one has an improvement in year two, in year three, in year four. We can only expand to the extent it makes sense. You don't want to overexpand. If in year one we said, hey, we're going to have 100 teams and it's going to be in every market, that would be a fool's errand, and that wouldn't make sense because the product would be too diluted. So the goal is to have a successful league in year one with however many teams ultimately are in our initial lineup. And then in year two, if we make the choice to expand, it has to be done so strategically. We have to make sure that our markets are set and that we have enough of a proven product over that track record. So it's got to make sense. And we hope to build up demand in markets. So, like the NHL moving into the Utah market, for hockey, or even, the Vegas Golden Knights a couple of years ago, we want to build up that demand. So, we've done a lot of work identifying the markets that we want to have in this year. As we speak, we're still finalizing some of our venue agreements. It's not, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take time to identify the right markets and build up that necessary demand before we come to those markets.
Perfect. Okay, another one is, how does international player integration elevate the overall level of competition?
How does player integration?
That's
These
the
are
question.
these are mole questions. These are not real questions. No one would say that.
This is a question.
How
I
does
wrote it
player
down.
I'm gonna listen at some point, Aiden. I'm gonna start deferring these questions to you, but I'll take this one. We've said this, and I have told we don't have a league without players, right? It's a kind of a no brainer. And as we're in this phase right now of solidifying our markets, and those that follow arena football will understand that arena football is not the NFL. We don't necessarily you're not playing for a team based in pick a market, Vegas, for example, while living in New York and shuttling back and forth every day between game days. We want to find players that call home those particular markets. So once we solidify the markets, right, we can solidify our rosters and we can solidify our schedule. So yeah, certainly the integration of players, right, to the league and having those players call their team home and having coaches on staff. The league doesn't function without that. So, we're doing everything we can to get that process finalized on our end. So we can, sign up players, sign up coaches, and finish that part of the process.
Okay, and the last and final one is, what kind of players are you hoping to get into the league?
Talented players that want to make a career of this, and I think this is very important. When I signed on to the league, and we're not going to spend the whole show talking about my background, but I do a lot of work outside of my professional work and collegiate work. I do a lot of work in the influencer and entertainer space. So we want players that want to use football as a platform to, kind of heighten their careers in any other way. So if we have players that are entertaining, that are lively, right, that want to make a career of this and they understand the value on their resume or in their extracurriculars of being a professional football player, we want players that are creative and are smart. So, while, yes, obviously we want the best talent on the field, we're also looking for players that have personality. And I know, this was, again, part of Tom's pitch to have me sign on once upon a time. The Savannah Bananas have made a ton of money and a ton of noise being entertaining as much as they are having a good baseball product. So we're looking for players that kind of fit both of those molds and that are committed to being part of a league, and then just really have football coursing through their veins. We want lifers. We want people that really care about the sport, but that are committed to pursuing football in creative and ingenious ways. And that's the way that we as a league will separate ourselves.
Well, that's a perfect question. Appreciate the answer, which is a perfect opportunity to bring in our special guest. For those of you that weren't with us last week, is a Colorado State standout, a former Cincinnati Bengal linebacker, Mr. Adrian Madbacker Ross.
What's up? What's up, y'all?
Hey.
I love that you were just sitting here witness to this attack. The people in the comments witness to the attack. Tom, I was just laying in wait. They said we're gonna have a nice guest on. We're gonna talk football, and then I'm just attacked.
Look, so
hit you hard, huh?
Adrian and I go back about 20 years, so I know a lot about Big A. He is the greatest. And so what I think that the fans want to see, the viewers want to see, people coming in that are on the fence or not about the IAL, this is a great opportunity for our commissioner, a former player, to have some conversation. And so
can I ask you a question?
You've talked to me about some good ideas. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Am I allowed to ask questions, or the question just attacks from third parties?
It's all you now.
First of all, pleasure to meet you. I do some work for Colorado State's collective, so we can have that conversation offline. I was at Colorado State's Pro Day 2 years ago when Trey McBride was there, so I'm familiar with the comings and goings of Colorado State. Van Pelt, I've seen his flag up in the Raptors over there, so I'm a football guy. Listen, they don't let the hands come and deceive you. I know ball. I know
definitely
ball.
Yeah, some ballers there.
I do. Well, pleasure to have you on here, and by all means, I'm here. If you have questions for me, I certainly have questions for you, but I don't want to cringe it. This is your show. I'm just one of three boxes here.
Dan, I got to interview Adrian extensively last week. There's not many people I respect more than Adrian Ross, and the fans want to hear the two of you. So Dan, you take it away and let's go.
Okay. Adrian, do you have any familiarity with the product of arena football? Like, what's your background with arena?
Yeah, being from Northern California, heard a lot about the San Jose team, and one of my good buddies is Aaron Garcia. He was a longtime quarterback over there. So just in that terms, like, I wasn't too much in depth, but I I was familiar with the league and a few of the, few guys in town that played.
Okay, so I guess on that, and listen, we do everything on the fly here. I do depositions. I'm not gonna cross-examine you or anything like that. Do you have listen, we're a league getting off the ground, right? We need the support of players like yourself that have played in those alumni circles. What as a league can we be doing when we're trying to kick off in 2026? So we're a couple months out. What can we be doing to convince people that are more familiar with the professional product that they should invest and take a chance on Arena?
Oh, I mean, just from what I've already been hearing and seeing with the league, obviously the fan engagement, I mean, you guys are already starting off with that, in terms of entertainment, as you've already had stated, there's many different levels and different forms. And this is obviously one. When I was playing for the Bengals, my home base was Sacramento, and the Sacramento Kings were there. And, in Cincinnati, we weren't winning. So, I'd come home and I was just amazed at the fan experience that was happening at games in the Arco Arena with the Sacramento Kings, and it made me understand that, I enjoy going to the games for the experience that they're giving the fans. So that's one major thing that I like that this league has addressed and, has put, a big effort up front that's what you guys are going to be doing. So that's definitely one. And then you stated it earlier in terms of having players, players that want to be entertaining. There's going to be, now we have social media, I wish I would have had it in my day. That would have been real fun, because I wasn't a talker necessarily on the field, but behind the scenes, you wanted to be able to get your voice out there, get your brand out there, and they have the ability to do that now. And I like that this league says that that they want that, and they're going to be encouraging that, and they want players to be able to come on board that's obviously going to be entertaining. But I think obviously that's my number one thing, is having obviously players that can play in a good brand of ball. But you need the players who are going to want to be involved in it at that level. So
this might come as news to Corine, but I've been doing it my deep dive. She's getting nervous that I'm saying this, but this is not a big deal. No, there's certainly a number of arena leagues and indoor sports around the country and around the world, right? Be it soccer, football, you name it. Put it this way, creative ways that sports are going viral for different moments, right? So I sent something to our COO, Tom, the other day. There's a league, and I'm not sure where this is based, but it's an indoor soccer league that basically in the final 2 minutes of a half, they'll basically roll this like cartoonish sized dice. And the dice will basically say if they're going to go to 1-on-1 soccer, 3-on-3 soccer, but it's some variant of what the game was. So let's say it's normally 6-on-6 indoor soccer. Now, we not by no means, right, are we planning to do any of this. We're just trying to see how creative we can. As someone that played in the NFL for a number of years, we have to separate ourselves. If we just are, back in the day, they used to call the NFL the no fun league. If we brand ourselves as the no fun arena league, we're not really setting ourselves up as a different product. How far do you think that line is, right, for Savannah Banana Ball or like the cartoonish dice, changing the amount of players on the field at a time? How far, where do you think that line is? And in 2025, are you comfortable with the league testing some of those boundaries with actual gameplay?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think that now it's wide open, in terms of what fans want and what things cost now. I think even the league is experiencing with, now we have every year the kickoffs different, and they're talking about the tush push. So I think now is a great time that, to be able to add those nuances, to be able to make the league be unique in that sense of what you're saying, for the fans, for the entertainment value, so that they know that they're coming to something different, because not only, now is there competition in terms of the NFL, but college, as well, college, high school, there's a lot of different things, not that they'd be playing during that time, but in terms of how people and fans experience on what they're used to seeing. So if a fan's knowing that they're going to come experience ball with some variations, I feel that they would love it from everybody that I talk to.
I remember, and there's a good documentary in it, but I remember being in my like formative years when the XFL came out, and they had that crazy kickoff where they dropped the ball from the sky, and it was like basically a mad dash to grab the ball. And they're I'm going to forget his real name, but the guy, he hate me with the on the back of his jersey, right? Like you can have a quote unquote like professional league with some type of gimmicks. And if you look back now, what the XFL took, they took a lot of those X camera angles. The NFL took that and I think ingenuity and experimenting is what's going to set our league apart. Now that said, we've talked about trying to get players from particular markets, and I know I get a lot of DMs from players that are interested in being a part of the league. As someone that's been around football, your entire career, what would be your message to players that are interested in the league, and then maybe a message for us of what type of players we should consider and how we would go about finding those players and those players putting themselves on our radars?
Ooh, that's kind of what I was wondering. That's what I was asking them last week, because I was a former agent as well as a player. So, I would be contacted a lot by, obviously different players of all different levels. And, just a lot of them. There's a lot of them that have played a lot of ball that can play that aren't getting the chance. So for me, like that's the toughest thing because, this is international, so that's what I'm still thinking about and wondering. So I think that would be more of a question for yourself there. That's what I'm trying to find out.
I know the answers. I get to ask you the questions too. Maybe we're just lining up our homework here. No, the thing is like, put it this way, and this is again my interest in joining this league. Like there are so many players at the collegiate level. You have 100 teams. You have 55 guys that are on scholarship, plus the guys that are walking on. Plus you have the D2 guys, D3 guys, the JUCO guys. Like there's so many players available to play. And now you have this NIL era since 2021, and you have players that can make money to being basically influencers while being football players. So I think there is a market to service these young kids. And I work with a lot of agents as outside general counsel. Looking at NIL agreements, dealing with the portal and all that fun stuff. I'm of the opinion, basically to get creative. Like you can hear as many stories where people that reach out to me that want to have informational interviews with me and they want to, learn about my history, like they have to reach out in creative ways. And if someone just sends me a cold email and it's just like, I need a job, like, I don't know. I have a lot of people asking for jobs, but I guess maybe in your history, what have you heard, be it in terms of like the draft prep process, be it through the combine? Like I always hear these stories with guys getting up in front of the board and wowing coaches. Like what are some things that players can do to stand out? Like we know how to find players. We could just look through the graduating seniors and guys that, running out of eligibility, right? We can look in particular markets, but what can players do to really set them apart? We're looking for leaders and for people to build marketing campaigns around. So we're trying to look for the leaders of each team as opposed to just coaches and personnel. So I'm hoping you can give us something good there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the tough part about it, right? Because I know, say as an agent, a lot of the players, all of them want to get to the NFL or they want to get to the top of whatever. And then, as I could see in knowing talent, some of them might have a chance, but they're probably not going to make it. And a lot of those processes go off of time. If you choose to go this route, well, you're going to miss out over here. This is different seasons. So, so you're not going to have that problem, but it's a problem, for the players themselves, as far as they don't, everyone wants to shoot that route. And so what I was wondering and what I would say, and what I've been thinking about for years is the high school market. Like what is, is this a league that, because I think it's been time. I mean, I was one that's been advocating for players to be paid years ago. I was an agent telling guys that they can make money now, but nobody wants to do it with me. It's all about how they do the contract. And then now it's wide open. It's still not fully there. I think the NCAA is getting over on players still by, hey, you know what? You guys can go out and make money on your own now. You could use your name, image, and likeness. as if it's new. And I'm like, so what did you guys sign different? But anyway, that's a different story. But to a lot of these 7-on-7 leagues, I feel that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for high school players coming out. And
yeah, I mean, just on the NIL side, I mean, like we could talk about Maurice Claret and guys that have tried to challenge that age rule. So there's not to get too into the weeds, but there's currently a rule for the NFL, and it's the NCAA and the NFL working together, which the NBA and the NCAA have worked together with a similar rule. There's the one and done rule, which I don't know, seems to benefit colleges, that you have to have guys like LeBron, pass through 1 year of college. Kobe would have had to play a year of college, which they never did. And you have a similar rule in the NFL that you have to be 3 years removed from your high school graduation in order to turn pro. Now, like for NFL purposes, like I get it. You should be a little bit bigger, right? The human body at 18 is not going to be as ready for that level of football. But then again, you have true freshmen that come onto the collegiate scene and play really well, right? Why aren't those guys? You've had Johnny Manziel obviously win the Heisman Trophy as a freshman. So I'm all in for ingenuity. That's what way back in the day, be it the American Basketball Association or the USFL, they both challenged the NBA and the NFL's age rules, so to speak. And Adrian, to your point, right now we have like 30 states in the country that have high school NIL that are understanding that players can make money at this next level. And I've yet to see a league take advantage of that. Like we've seen Overtime Elite, which is like a kind of quasi-pro basketball league. They make money off of high school level talent. They pay those players talent in a kind of professional format. So it's something to consider. It's something that Tom and I just candidly have not spoke about. But if there's interest, right, like, and we want to get top talent that have huge social media followings that can bring eyeballs to the league, like I'm all for having those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, because just like how you say, I mean, that's the normal thing. Is like a lot of people use the example of me coming out of Elk Grove High School. I was one that needed to go and grow, as you stated. But does Tyreek Hill and the guys that are 5'8" and they're lightning in a bottle and real fast, they're not growing. So why are they prohibited from having to go to the NFL? Or what about those overly big linemen, guys that are already the size? Not everybody needs to grow, but I know the rule is for college. So another question for you, and I've always thought about this because they've always stated that. So in these all-star games, in the East-West Shrine game, in the Hula Bowl, in which I played in both, in the Senior Bowl, why are they not being paid then? Because they're done. So why aren't they being paid in those games, and why aren't they being paid at the combines?
I mean, the short answer is, I mean, combine's like assumption of the risk, like you go there in order to prove your draft stock. And I think the postseason bowls, like those are, I guess, becoming more of a problem because guys are opting out. They don't want to get hurt in those games, and maybe they should. And I'll tell you behind the scenes, like some of these collective contracts that I help work on, those players do get paid for those extra games that they play. And part of the difficulty, without getting too far into the weeds, is the transfer portal occurs while those bowl games are happening. So kind of, if you agree to stay on in the next year, like, that could be your quote, and I'm putting this in quotes. This is not allowed to do this, but like your signing bonus can be playing, and then that's what kind of starts the next cycle. So if you're playing in the games after the transfer portal, I mean, it's a pretty good indication that you're staying on for that team for another year. But Adrian, you're gonna get it is what it is. I have a hard out. I have some commissioner duties at 4:30 my time in about 30 seconds.
Right.
I can commit half an hour. You said 4 to 4:30. That's all I got.
Well, you know what, Dan? I promise you, Adrian will be back on with us, and we can take this where we left off. But thank you so much for coming here, and I'll see you.
And for the record, these hands are great. The mitts are good. All the
well, I got your back.
I see the comments. I see the Facebook comments. I see them all. I see everything.
I got you back, Dan. All right. Bye. So, Adrian, thank you for coming on here with us and visiting and chatting again. And you're quite popular. We've had a lot of people ask about you, want to know, what's Adrian doing? Are we going to hear from him again? Yes, we will. We heard from Adrian a lot, I promise you. So I actually talked to Tom earlier today, and I'm going to be putting on a a show with different cheerleaders and dancers from around the world too, and D1, NFL, NBA. And I think that'll be a good show, right?
Definitely.
I think I talked to you once before about judging some sort of trout. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah,
Talk about
cheerleading
that.
is my specialty.
What's that?
Cheerleading is my specialty.
I know it is. I know it is. We've had this discussion many times. But listen, thank you so much for jumping in here and saying hello and having good conversation with Dan. It's fun for him as a commissioner to be able to talk with you on a different level than maybe some of us. But so before we go, I do want to say quickly to everyone who's watching, to our viewers, to our followers, our fans, future fans, please go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, follow the International Arena League. If you're a player or coach, also IAL Players page on all those platforms. And again, get out and get your tickets. Okay, that's the big thing here. Get out and get your tickets. Pick your seats. We do have 6 months, but it can never be too soon. Okay, so you can go to ialfootball.com right now. You can go to the Cincinnati Slingers website. You can go to the IAL Glasgow website and the Las Vegas Rockers. Tom Mitchell, our COO, did tell me that hopefully Thursday and in the coming days, we're going to be announcing a whole lot more teams, arenas, locations, and other information. So with that being said, thank you, Adrian Ross. I appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll see you again in the next few days. Okay, thank you. Bye.